Very warm welcome to all of you, especially to our adjudicators, to our scorers, to our staff who have joined us, and to Ms. Morris, our organizer. Thank you very much for all the effort that you've put into tonight. And then to you, boys and girls, and then to everyone who will be watching this recording later on at home. So welcome to our inter-house public speaking competition, where we will be showcasing the power of language, the skills of expression, and the gift of speech. So skydiving, swimming with sharks, bungee jumping, these are all thrill-seeking experiences that provide the individual with a source of an adrenaline rush. And public speaking, according to many, is no different and could possibly fall within that same category of some of those extreme hobbies that I've mentioned. Because with these disciplines, there is the requirement to overcome a challenge, to put one's nerves to the test, and to experience a sense of accomplishment while hopefully having some fun along the way. I'd just like to thank you, boys and girls, for all the effort that you have put into preparing for tonight. And we know that you are going to give it your best, and your best will be good enough. Congratulations on being selected to represent your house, and good luck for your speeches this evening. Before we begin, can I just ask us all to bow our heads and just to remember that we're on the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we invite you to be at the center of tonight's event, a time where we are able to celebrate friendship, the privilege of education, the opportunity for learning, and the sharing of gifts and talents. We give thanks for the blessing that is free speech, and we pray for those places where this freedom is challenged and often denied. And we ask that you always help us to use this ability responsibly. Thank you for the children and the staff present this evening, and may we always find our courage and strength in you tonight and always. We ask this all in your holy name. Amen. Mother Bernarda, St. John Baptiste de la Salle, Hail Holy Cross, and live Jesus in our hearts forever. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good evening, teachers and fellow students.
We are glad to be your MCs for this evening.
Welcome to our esteemed adjudicators consisting of Miss Adams, Mr. Hanson, and Miss Seedit.
Mr. Hanson and Mr. Seedit will be a familiar face for us when we enter the junior high next year. And we all know and love Mrs. Adams and want to thank you all for being here tonight.
We hope that you enjoy the speeches and that we delight you with our junior charm.
Our first speaker for the grade 4s is Bukulu Cabrita in Benilla's house, and the topic is Sweets and Chocolates Make Everything Better. And I can already tell you that I would have to agree.
Did you know they were introduced in South Africa nearly 72 years ago? Did you know they came in a range of colours and flavours? Did you know Arthur Ginsberg was the brainchild behind this brand? Did you know they are recognised by its distinctive yellow wrapper with blue and red stripes and a chipmunk kick? Can you guess what sweet I've selected? That's correct. It's the Chucky's bubblegum. I've selected this bubblegum because this iconic South African gum is a proudly South African brand, and just like Chappies, I'm too proudly South African. Before there was Google, there was Did You Know on every Chappie's wrapper, making it a fun way to test your general knowledge. The birth story of Chappies is genius. Arthur was creative in his thinking and decided to make these chewing gums attractive by having only 4 Did You Know questions on the inside of each wrapper, and it worked. What started off with 3 people writing the Did You Know questions, news spread, and eventually Wits University was asked to assist. It is estimated that there are around 5,000 to 6,000 questions generated in the first year. So Chappies not only became a popular gum, but also a source of fun facts and trivial information for many. Did you know the idea of making Chappies was only one person, but to make it such a successful, powerful brand, he included the community by running various competitions. In 2019, to celebrate Chappie's 70th birthday, the community was again asked to submit their most fascinating facts, and these were checked for accuracy, and 170 new Did You Knows were selected over 50,000 entries. How amazing is it that chewing gum can unite people from all walks of life together? This is the world I want to live in, where we have freedom of speech and no one is denied rights. We can all come together with one goal in mind, and together we can all achieve greatness. How could you not want to be a gum wrapped in yellow with blue and red stripes? Did you know there was no discrimination of whether Chappies were distributed within South Africa? And this little tasty gum was sold in rural areas too. Mr. Ginsburg was quoted as saying, "We felt that black rural kids possibly don't have breakfast, and if they choose Chappies, they at least be given a little bit of energy." For me, the fact that everyone had access to this gum is important, and if I was a Chappie, I too would feel proud that this gum showed equality. If I was a Chappie, the fact that I could change so many people's lives in a cost-effective way stands out for me. The lesson here is to do what you love. The same could not be true. Dynamite comes in small packages, so yes, I would love to be a Chappie and be able to build an iconic. I would love to be a Chappie and be able to build and be able to unite people, be versatile, practice equality, and one day follow my passion and be able to build an iconic and uniquely South African brand. So the next time you find yourself blowing your Chappies, try and educate someone with a Did You Know, and remember where it all started.
Now we have Madison Tobbins-Setzborn speaking for Charles House on the topic, A Journey of 1,000 Miles Begins with a Fantastic Pair of Shoes. Now, I wonder if those shoes are Nikes, Air Jordans, or Jimmy Choos.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a pair of shoes. Not necessarily the walking kind, but for my speech, I chose shoes. A pair of tap shoes, worn by a famous child dancer called Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was born in 1928. I chose her because I love to tap dance myself. I would love to be Shirley Temple's tap shoes because she did so many fun movies in them. She started dancing at the age of 3. Her shoes went everywhere she went. Her tap shoes made the best sounds while she was singing and dancing with famous people. Her trick was that she made it look so easy. Shirley had a very special friendship with a man called Mr. Bojangles. He was an incredible tap dancer. Bojangles was 50 and Shirley was 6 when they first met. He taught her to dance through listening to the music. so they would hold hands and listen to the music, not looking down at their feet. It was a special kind of magic between them. She won an Oscar at the age of 6 and is still the youngest person to ever have received an Oscar. I would have loved to have been Shirley Temple's tap shoes up on the Oscar stage accepting her award with her. Shirley Temple became known as the girl with curly hair. Her mom did her hair in pimples for each movie, and each hairstyle had exactly 56 curls. She had short blonde curly hair, 2 dimples and brown eyes. I wonder how many steps Shirley's shoes did in a day, because when you tap dance, your feet move twice as fast as anyone else's. I'm sure those shoes worked so hard they really needed a holiday when she finally took them off. Shirley stopped doing movies at the age of 22. She decided she liked politics more. Her shoes really traveled all over the world.
Wow, what an interesting and wonderful speech. From Francis House, we have Taliesin Griffiths will now present their speech on a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a fantastic pair of shoes.
I chose to be the shoes of Barack Obama. As you will hear, I chose to be the shoes of Barack Obama so that I could follow and understand the path that he took, from humble beginnings to being the most powerful man in the world. Barack Obama was born in 1961 in Hawaii to an American mother and a Kenyan father. His mom's family is from Kansas and is from a working class background. His grandfather worked in factories and signed up to the army after Pearl Harbor. Barack Obama's father was a French student from Kenya who was born and raised in a small village. His grandfather from Kenya was a cook for the British. I want to walk in his shoes to see each and every step that he took to become the first African American president of the United States of America. As his shoes, I would see this long journey and I would learn from it. I would see how he was woken up at 4:30 every day by his mother to go through his homework. I would also see how he was successful at Harvard to then become the Senator of Illinois. Being at his feet, I'll listen to his every word of his 2004 speech, which sets him on the final part of the journey to becoming the President of the United States of America. His words would echo in me that, with hard work and perseverance, anything is possible. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you for such a wonderful speech. Next we have Alexandra Hudson from her mother's house, and her topic is A Journey of 1,000 Miles begins with a fantastic pair of shoes.
Just going to wait for our educators to complete their comments, and then our next speaker will come up when I signal. Okay.
journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But you can't walk 1,000 miles with no shoes. Friday. Me, Tatiana's school market shoes are slowly walking up to the podium. It's the 30th of July, 2021, Tokyo, Japan. An Olympic official has just handed a gold medal to Tatiana. Wow, what a feeling of pride. But I think back to all the hours I've sat at the side of a pool, watching and waiting while she swims mile after mile. I know her achievement today is a result of hard work and lots of determination. Saturday. Today I'm playing in the Ladies Wimbledon Finals. I'm a set of white black tackies being worn by Serena Williams. Grass is not my favorite type of surface because it is so slippery. Serena is chasing another title today. I hope we win, but winning is not everything. Being a good sportsman is what matters most. It's Sunday. I'm a well-used pair of sandals on the feet of Mother Teresa. I've been worn by her for many, many years. Her feet are sore, tired and deformed from making every single day. I feel bad because I don't offer her much comfort, but I do try my best. I admire how she never complains. She always tries to do good for others who don't have much. She is my idol for being humble and generous. Monday morning, 7:45, the school bell goes. Good morning, grade 4s. Today, I'm a pair of heels. I will see 26 children learn something that I already know. I've walked the corridors of DLSHCCJ College for the past 8 years, but I must admit, this has been my favorite year by far. This class of grade 4J 2021, they are awesome. Each day, I quietly listen to my owner's voice. She generally remains calm and patient. She lovingly guides her children. My best is when Mrs. Hirasha makes them laugh. Tuesday, 9th October 2012. I am on the bus going to school. You have never seen me. I'm hidden under a hijab. I'm a pair of sandals that are used to walking on the dusty streets of Pakistan. Today, Italian terrorists decided to shoot my owner in the head. Malala Yousafzai is the bravest 15-year-old I've ever known. She deserved her Nobel Prize, standing up for the rights of female education. What bravery. Wednesday, like every other day, I get pulled onto the feet of a tired but strong man. A man who understands what forgiveness is. A man whose goal is to free his people. I'm a worn-out pair of hard leather boots sitting on the feet of prisoner 46664. Each day we walk the trip to Limestone Quarry. This was just the beginning of Madiba's long walk to freedom. It's Thursday. A very tired pair of feet snug into me. These feet have run and swam and danced and played tennis and gone to school. I'm a cuddly pair of winter slippers worn by me. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a fantastic pair of shoes. Now whose shoes would I choose? Let me set the scene. You're on horseback in Kenya, all alone on the African plains, trying to locate an escaped lion. You make a boma out of branches and lure him in with meat and capture him and safely transport him back to the game reserve. Just then disaster strikes. He picks up your scent. You climb a tree and use your flare to chase him away. Eventually, you pluck up all your courage to make your way down the tree and run. He's after you. You run all the way to the edge of the canyon and there's nowhere out but down. You close your eyes and jump into the water below. At last, safe from the lion's jaws in the crystal clear water. Or is it safe? A shadow passes below you. The water ripples to the side of you, and an open mouth of a hippo emerges from the water. And you're in his territory. You use all your swimming skills to get to the side of the riverbank, and just in time. Whose shoes did I choose? You guessed it, Bear Grylls. The adventurer, explorer, and thrill seeker with a good heart too. Bear Grylls has climbed Everest, crossed the North Atlantic Ocean, traveled across Antarctica, paramotored over the Himalayas, jet skied around the British Isles, and even hosted a dinner party in a hot air balloon at altitude. He uses these adventures to raise money for children's charities, global warming awareness, and other impressive causes. The only thing I wouldn't do would be to eat the grubs and worms he does to survive. Yuck.
Thank you, Alexia, for a very interesting and adventurous speech. Next, we have Joshua John from Charles House. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a fantastic pair of shoes.
Imagine being me, a shoe. I mean, my life could be worse. I get a wash every now and again, and I get to rest a lot. The bad part, my friends, is getting slammed into the ground all the time. My person wearing me must be very happy because we go everywhere together. This guy is lucky to have shoes like me because he's going on a journey. I'm not talking 1 or 2 kilometers. I'm talking 1,000 miles. If this guy trips on the way, that's a nice face plant for me. Did I mention we're walking? Oh well, I'm going to sleep now. In the morning, we're setting off on our trip. I'm awake, bright and early. My person is packing up his stuff, and we're off. Today is a hot, sunny day, traveling through lots of hills and blossom trees. I'm going to tell you one of the things that happened on this trip, otherwise the story is going to go on forever. So we had been traveling for 2 weeks, and we arrived at the seaside. And there's 12 people in a boat waiting for us.
My person climbs in the boat and falls asleep as we row away from the shore. About an hour later, we're in the middle of a raging storm. The boat is being tossed around like a ball. The 12 people are freaking out. My person is still asleep. They start to shake my person to wake him up. He finally stands up and walks to the edge of the boat. Then he jumps out. I can't believe it. I'm standing on water. For real, we can walk on water. And then another person jumps out. He's also standing on water. Oh no, he's starting to sink. Okay, we saved him and we're back on the boat. And then my person shouts, "Be calm," and the storm stops. My person's name is Jesus. Perhaps you've heard of him. I mean, this guy can do miracles, like turning water into wine, making blind people see, and raising people from the dead. This guy could snap his fingers and the trip would be over. But of course, he chose the hard way to travel. Lucky for me, we managed to finish the journey, and that landed us both in a pretty sweet spot called heaven.
I'm actually speechless from that speech. Congratulations to the grade 4s on outstanding speeches. Time flies when you're having fun, am I right? And on that note, we would now like to introduce you to the first grade 5 speaker for this evening. From Renilda's house, Chloe Schaffer. Sorry, there was a little mishap. We have Taya Costin.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a fantastic pair of shoes. To add to this, Cinderella is proof that a new pair of shoes can change your life. Good evening, everyone. I love shoes. Nikes, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, heels or flats. If they're stylish, I love them all. But it's not all about the shoes. It's about what you do in them. So, whose shoes would I be and why? I don't think that I would ever choose the president's shoes, as that would be too much pressure for me. If I think of my dad's shoes, I feel sorry for them, as they wake up early, non-stop, up and down until late. Definitely not my choice. When I think of a homeless person who was lucky enough to even have a pair of shoes, I would not feel comfortable because of the streets and the holes. Cristiano Ronaldo's shoes would be too much pressure for me. If I could choose whose shoes I would be my own. I know if I'm my own shoes, they would be treated with care and have a safe place to sleep at night. They would be stunning and my size. They will help me take the right step in the right direction and never have to run anywhere again. If my head is ever down in life, just know I'm admiring my shoes. Good shoes take you to good places, and I can't wait to see where my shoes take me. It's okay to be a little obsessed with shoes. I am, and I don't need help. Thank you.
Well done, grade 4s. Now we have the grade 5s, and starting off is Chloe Shaffer.
Time flies when you're having fun. This means time appears to be quicker when you're having fun. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw this topic was a holiday I had in August 2019. When I look back now, I realize how time flies when you're having fun. When we were counting down to our holiday, it seemed that time never moved, and I felt like I'd been packing for ages. Eventually, in the last week before I left, my family put up a chart and I started counting down the nights. It was a memorable holiday because I had never been to Madrid before. We stayed there for 5 nights in a place called Anton Martin. Some of the highlights which I can remember were as follows. My family has no sense of direction, so they gave me the map and I figured out all the routes, which was fun. I think we only got lost once, or maybe a couple more times. On our first day, my mom got bad flu, and no, it was not COVID. She battled for 2 days and we had to go to the hospital twice for medicine. The one time we walked out of the pharmacy, we saw a cute dog outside, although he did not remain cute for long since he proved to be a wild dog who wanted to chase us, but he couldn't because he was tied to a pole. My family enjoyed watching soccer, and as a surprise, my mom booked us a La Liga soccer game. When we looked at the map, the soccer stadium appeared to be close to our hotel. Luckily, we left our hotel early and got horribly lost on the way. After many hours changing so many trains and asking people for help, we eventually arrived at the stadium, and luckily the game had not started yet. But what an adventure I'll never forget. And the soccer game was worth it. My favorite train station was Gran Via. This led us to all the amazing shops in the city centre. They have different stores in South Africa such as El Hub and Primark, and the variety was something else. I also did a lot of sightseeing and visited the historical landmark, the Plaza Mayor, and I visited the Temple of Dubon, which was an Egyptian temple dismantled in Egypt and gifted to Madrid. On our second last day, we did half a day trip to the Santiago Bernabeu, which is the Real Madrid soccer stadium. We went through the museum and around the stadium, and it was an experience. Before I knew it, we were headed on a plane for our next destination. I could not believe how quickly 5 days could pass, and this shows how time flies when you're having fun. We were so exhausted after those 5 days that I felt like I needed another holiday.
Well done for that very interesting speech. Now we have Nina van der Linden from Charles House, and United by Emotion is her topic. Imagine me, Nina, swimming in our school's inter-house gala, and everyone in my house, which is Charles, would be cheering me on to do my best. If I won, we would all feel so joyful, and if I came last, we would all feel quite blue, wouldn't we? Now imagine our top grade 5 swimmer, like Lauren, swimming in our school gala, and all of us screaming for her to fight for first place. If she won, we would all be ecstatic. All the kids, coaches, teachers, Mr. Burnson, moms and dads, grannies and grandpas, aunties and uncles. Anyone else? Sport has the power to unite us as a school. It can also unite us as a province, a country, and even the world. Earlier this year, we watched the 2020 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. Tatiana Skunmaka was representing South Africa in her 200-meter breaststroke race. She had a good chance of winning, and when she raced, behind her, she had South Africans of every color, creed, gender, shape and size, cheering her on. Go, 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 you biscuits! When she won gold and broke the world record, we all exploded with euphoria and pride. The Olympic Games are the world's largest sporting events. In Tokyo, over 200 nations came together to compete. And also, billions of viewers from around the globe tuned in to watch and support them. This is how sport has the power to unite the world. Tokyo chose their official motto to be United by Emotion, the topic of my speech. Winning can make us feel joyful, ecstatic, and euphoric, but these are not the only emotions that unite us. For those who don't win, we also share their disappointment, sadness, maybe even anger or humiliation. Think about how we all felt when the South African men's team dropped the baton in their 400-meter relay race. Speaking of embarrassment, while doing my research, I found out that the athletes in the ancient Olympic Games competed in the nude. Lush, I'm very pleased times have changed. Winners or not, we can all learn from those that made it to the top of their game. What we see is only a tiny bit of what athletes can do. It all starts with participation, trying our best, practicing, persevering, and who knows, maybe one day we can become a Tatiana and unite our Rainbow Nation by emotions.
Thank you, Nina, for a very entertaining and interesting speech. Now we have Alice Kelly from Francis House, also united by emotion.
The topic I've chosen to speak about today is United by Emotion. It was the 30th of July, 2021, and the Olympic Games were being held in Tokyo. It was the 200-meter breaststroke, and Tatiana Skunmaka was racing to the finish line. When you finish a race in swimming, the first thing you see when you look up is a board. And on that board, it tells you your time and your place. Well, for Tatiana, what she saw was first place, and her time was 2 minutes and 18 seconds. The Daily Maverick quotes, Schoonmaker has quickly become the darling of the Olympic Village because of her genuine delight and surprise at her performances. She was already close to tears after it hit her that she had won the final, seconds after touching the wall, and her reaction when she realized it was a world record was priceless. She let out a spontaneous shriek of delight, which even gave rival Bazaar a reason to smile and came over to hug the emotional South African. Before Tatiana Schoonmaker won the gold in the swimming, as a community, we've been feeling sad, angry, and frustrated because we had just had all the rides. But when she won, it lifted everyone's spirits because we had something to talk about and be proud of, and that feeling of emotion unites us. On the way to school that morning, me and my dad were listening to Mix FM, our usual radio station, and the interviewer had asked Tatiana what she would like to do when she got back to South Africa, and her reply had been, when I get back, I would love to have a cry with my family outside, even though they say it is freezing, and that feeling of emotion unites them. But it is not just that unites us. We are also united in school, like when Mr. Burnson used us for one of his talks in assembly. When we come into the hall, our minds are somewhere else. Then he starts speaking, and we all share the same feeling of emotion, because we all share the same feeling. His talks are also meaningful and interesting. One of the talks that I remember was his talk on popcorn and potential. That was interesting and meaningful, plus I got through that popcorn. Now, to finish it off with a quote by a man who united our city, our nation, and our country. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. By Nelson Mandela.
Very well done speech. Now we have Sienna Diaz in Benilda's house. Not all superheroes wear capes.
Not all heroes wear capes, but in 2020 and 2021, we all wore masks. As you have probably noticed, my speech is about heroes that don't wear capes, and I think I have a pretty good example of one in my life. I'm keeping this one close to home. We all have good teachers in our lives, but I'd like to specifically talk about this one, my dancing teacher. Ashley set such a good example for everyone at the studio with her never give up attitude. Her full name is Ashley Jade, and she started dancing at 5 years old at the Recreation Centre, then started teaching at Craig Hall, and in 2013 started building her own studio. 2014 was her first full year at the new studio. Studio 7, that's what it was called, up until recently, and as of this year is now called Elements of Movement. I've been dancing with Ashley for 4 years, and I don't think there's a better teacher for the job. In 2020, level 5 lockdown, we had to close the studio and stay home, but that did not stop Ashley. First, we had personally recorded videos to do the lessons, and just a video was better than nothing. And even though this was all new, we did not miss a day of dancing. Once we figured out Zoom, we started online classes. It always gave me something to look forward to. Even though it's not always fun waking up early on a Saturday morning for 3 hours of dancing, I always think of the sacrifices Ashley has made for us to be there. Lots of events were cancelled last year, including our showcase. But luckily enough in October we were able to participate in the Gauteng Dance Festival. And no, we did not break any rules. We had to record our dances and send it through to the judges to get marked. I got an A. In 2021, things were looking up, but COVID was not gone. We were working towards our showcase in June at the Rudaport Theatre. And for the first time since 2019, we were able to dance in front of our families. It was very stressful with the unknown. And to allow everyone to watch, we had to do 2 shows on the same day. And just a week later, the president changed the venue capacities back to 50 people. If that had happened earlier, our showcase would have been cancelled. But here we are, with 3 weeks left until the Gauteng Dance Festival. I worked really hard this year, with 6 dance classes a week over 3 days. I perform in 2 group dances and 2 solos. I'm nervous but excited. What gets me through is knowing Ashley will be backstage with me. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. I want you all to think about that. Don't follow your dreams, chase them.
Wow, Sienna. Thanks for that very interesting speech. Now, we have Nikita Nachman from Charles House. Time flies when you're having fun. Just look at the time. The event's almost over, but we have to carry on.
You're like most kids. As you're learning, working on assignments, and going from class to class, you're probably glancing at the clock on a regular basis. When you get home and it's time to play, how often do you look at the clock? Do you keep an eye on what time it is like you do at school? Are you counting down the minutes until bedtime? Or does someone have to tell you it's time to clean up and hit the sack? The bad news is, time flies. The good news is, you're the pilot. Time appears to pass more quickly when engaged in something you enjoy. It is a fact that the best things go by quickly and are over before you know it. Why would you not pay attention to the time in the same way regardless of where you are and what you're doing? Art lessons
for me on Tuesday passed so quickly, it feels like it was only 5 minutes. So when I'm playing on the iPad until the battery runs out, or chatting to my friends, where did the time go? On the other hand, lessons like Zulu and Afrikaans take forever, and I'm probably sure everyone feels the same way. My guess is that you pay much more attention to the time when you're at school than when you're playing at home. But why is that? Why does time seem to move faster when you're doing something enjoyable and slower when you're bored? This experience has given a rise to a popular saying you've all probably heard many times before. Time flies when you're having fun. Psychologists do indeed believe that people see time differently depending on their mental state and the activities they're engaged in. When you're bored or doing something you'd rather not be doing, your mind is not occupied and it tends to wander. When it wanders, it often wanders towards the clock. On the other hand, when you're happily engaged in an activity you enjoy, your mind is fully focused on the fun that you're having, and you do not worry much about the passing time because you're enjoying the moment while it lasts. Not all enjoyable time flies by at the same speed. Simply being happy and content will not necessarily make the time seem to pass more quicker. Time flies whether you're having fun or not, whether you're living your life, big or small, whether you surround yourself with fear or laughter. And I've been in the business for 11 years. I guess time flies when you're having fun. Remember, everything will eventually come to an end, so try to savor the moment, because time flies, doesn't it? The beauty of life, you gotta make it last for the better, because nothing lasts forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita, for that amazing speech. Now we have Pythagoras Jones from Francis House. Age only matters if you're a cheese. That's understandable.
I chose the topic, age doesn't matter unless you're a cheese. Or as Mrs. Steele would prefer to say, age doesn't matter unless you're a wine. What these sayings actually mean is that you can be or do anything you want in life, no matter what your age is at the time. So today, I'm going to talk about 3 unique individuals who prove these sayings to be right. The first person I'm going to talk about is Ortega Mandana, better known as DJ Arch Jr. DJ Arch Jr. is a 7-year-old DJ from Johannesburg, South Africa. He began making music at just 8 months old and went on to win South Africa's Got Talent in 2015 at the young age of only 3. Since then, he has won a Guinness World Record for being the world's youngest DJ. He has also appeared as a guest on Britain, China, America, and Saudi Arabia's Got Talent shows. On the side, his hobby is video gaming, just like most kids his age. I bet that if any of your grandparents have a smartphone, they barely know how to use it and often get confused and need your help to navigate the phone. This, however, definitely isn't the case for the next person I'm going to talk about today. A 90-year-old lady named Akima Mori from Japan who completely defies this stereotype. Not only can she use a smartphone, she also knows how to play video games really well. She even streams them live on YouTube. She plays full-time and spends anything between 4 to 8 hours a day playing video games, such as Call of Duty, Fortnite, and her favorite, Grand Theft Auto 5. When asked how she even got into gaming, she replied by saying she noticed how all the kids were playing video games and she decided to try and ended up loving them. Now Akima is a Guinness World Record holder with the title of Gamer Ready, which she upholds proudly. To end this speech off, the third person I'm going to talk about is Sky Brown, the world's youngest Olympian. Sky was only 13 when she first competed in the 2020 Olympic Games. She competed in the Women's Park skateboarding event and managed to win a bronze medal. This also gave her the title of the youngest person in Britain to ever win a medal at the Olympic Games. Sky started learning how to skateboard at the young age of only 3. She certainly didn't mind being the only girl at the skate park and took pleasure in showing all the boys just how good a girl can be at the sport too. Her dream is to teach underprivileged people of all ages how to skateboard, so they can forget about whatever troubles they might be going through and just enjoy the art of skateboarding and the joy it brings. Sky partnered with a charity called Skateistan, which exists in countries such as Cambodia, Afghanistan, and even South Africa. Skateistan is a skateboarding school that also supports outreach programs for food and education. Sky enjoys surfing as her hobby. It makes her feel like she is flying, so her name Sky really does suit her. No matter how much Sky falls off her skateboard or misses a wave, she always gets straight back up and tries again, just for the thrill of landing it and getting it just right. I hope that the people I have spoken about in this speech today inspire you, just like they inspired me. I've realized the age is only a number, and if you have the passion and the will, you can be extraordinary too, and choose to do things that may seem impossible at first, until they are done.
Thank you, Kai. What a gooder. Next, we have Ivana Diamonds from Renilda's house. Not all superheroes wear capes.
Not all superheroes wear capes. When you think of a superhero, you would normally think of someone who wears a cape, like Batman, Superman, or even Wonder Woman. But did you know not all superheroes wear capes? Today, I will be telling you about someone who is very close to my heart, my grandpa. story was told to me by my grandpa's best friend, my Uncle Jimmy. A long time ago, my grandpa and my Uncle Jimmy decided to go on a fishing trip at a place called Wemmerpan. And they were around the age of 25 and were having a great time. When suddenly, they noticed a man drowning in the middle of a lake, struggling to stay above the water. As soon as my grandpa saw this, he immediately dove in and quickly started swimming to help the person. The way my Uncle Jimmy describes it is as if though my grandpa was floating on the water because he had such a powerful kick and he used to swim for his provincial team. So back to the story. My grandpa got to the man in a blink of an eye, helped him calm down, and then told him to climb onto his back. Once my grandpa had swam the person back to shore, he quickly called the ambulance. Once the ambulance had left, everyone clapped, cheered, and woohooed for my grandpa for being the hero of the day. So everybody, now you know not all heroes wear capes. So there's a hero inside of each and every one of us. You just gotta dig a little deeper. And I have a little secret. My granny told me my grandpa's pants actually came off in the water, so my granny went running with the towel. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Your grandfather really seems like a hero. Now we have Isabella Leacher and Charles House. Once again, not all superheroes wear capes.
Can I go? Ha! Superheroes. We all know them and love them. And I mean, they look pretty cool with their perfect hair and awesome capes. But let's also take a look at the fact that they wear their undercuts on the outside. I mean, who does that and why do we trust them? You know, maybe I should talk about some real superheroes. You know, the ones that we see in everyday life but just don't give credit to. Now that I've generalized it, let me be specific. Hotel Hope is an establishment in Joburg and all over the world where they take abandoned babies and help them. But not just any help. They give them food, water, shelter, clothes, but most importantly love. And as they shared in an article, they do this so the babies and kids can grow up to be loving, positive, and happy adults one day. Now I think that is really sweet. And after I tell you the next fact, you'll think it's even sweeter. In 3, 2, 1. They don't even get paid to do this. Dun dun dun! Okay, sorry, I kind of made it awkward. I was trying to pretend I was in a superhero movie. Actually, it sounded way better in my head. Never mind. Hotel Hope was started in 2008 by Oliver Commodore. Oliver said in an interview that he started Hotel Hope to help abused, abandoned, and orphaned children. Now I'm going to talk about my granny. And you may be thinking, why in the world are you going to talk about your granny? Well, my granny goes to Hotel Hope quite a lot because she makes them blankets and clothes. And she just goes there to hold her babies and give the loves. My mom and granny say that when COVID gets slower,
I can go to Hotel Hope and hold the babies, because I've loved babies since I got my first baby doll, which was before I was born. When my mom found out she was having a baby girl, she bought me baby dolls, lots of baby dolls, and that's why I've loved them. So you can call it my entire life. And that is why I've chosen Hotel Hope today. This story has really touched my heart, and one day I hope I can be in an establishment not nearly as beautiful as this one, and maybe I can be considered a hero. I promise I'll keep my underwear on the inside. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Isabella, for a humorous and insightful speech. Now, last but certainly not least, we have Sophia Lopez from Francis House, United by Emotion.
Everyone knows the Olympics. Sports events, anticipation, excitement, countries. It's very fascinating. All the athletes in the Olympics are obviously very impressive. But something that seems more impressive to me is the Paralympics. The Paralympics is similar to the Olympics, with one very vital difference. All of the athletes have physical or even intellectual disabilities. These people are incredibly talented and dedicated, and I have so much respect for these amazing athletes. You might not expect it, but they break world records. Now that you have a better idea of the Paralympics, I want to tell you about a specific person. Trisha Zorn is an American swimmer who was born blind. She has won 55 medals, making her the most successful athlete in Paralympic history. The main reason she inspires me is because she has taught me that people who are blind or have any sort of disability are just as capable as those who don't. Since she was a child, she wanted to compete on an international level. One of her main goals was to win a gold medal. And as she said, I was blessed to win gold 41 times. When looking deeper into her family life, I discovered that she experienced a tragedy during the 2004 Paralympic Games. Due to cancer, her mother unfortunately passed away, and she didn't know if she'd be able to compete in the Paralympics that year. She did compete, and her dedication and strength really ties in with the Paralympic motto, United by Emotion, symbolizing that even though her mom wasn't there, she felt connected to her and motivated by her memory. In this part of her story, I can relate to the overcoming of an obstacle by the power of motivation. Some obstacles I've overcome are the passing of family members, the transition into a new school, and one obstacle that I have yet to overcome is moving to Cape Town. Trisha has helped me understand the importance of motivation, resilience, and determination to help us achieve our goals in life. It's never too late to go for gold. Thank you, grade 5s, for those amazing, wonderful, and very entertaining speeches. Last but not least, we have our grade 6s, and that they will now bring this event into a close with their speeches. Firstly, we have Pedro Diablo in Benilda's house. Life should come with background music. Oops, oops, oops. Oh, sorry, I thought that was in my head.
If your life is anything like mine, and you have a teenager living in your home, then you will know what it feels like to live life with constant background music. A day does not go by where my brother doesn't blast his Spotify playlist for all to hear. Sometimes his music's okay, but other times I seriously wonder what he's listening to. According to the Oxford Dictionary, music is vocal or instrumental sounds, or both, combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. Music can play an amazing role in people's lives. It has the power to make one feel happy or joyful, or sometimes even nostalgic or sad. Music has the power to lift your spirits, no matter how down you may feel. It is for this reason that life should come with background music. When thinking about background music, movies always come to mind. If you ask anybody who creates movies, they will tell you, a movie without a good soundtrack is not a movie, it is a film. A good soundtrack suddenly turns an ordinary film into a movie. Take an example. A young man gets up early morning, drinks up a glass of raw eggs, and sets out on his morning jog. Seems quite ordinary, right? Add the song Eye of the Tiger, and suddenly the scene is turned into the most legendary scene from the movie Rocky. See, that's what music does. It sets up the emotion and the tempo and completes the scene. I'm a big fan of music, and I listen to many different songs. But a song that would relate to my life would be the song Don't Worry, Be Happy by Bobby McFerrin. If you do not know the song offhand, I'm sure you would know it if you were to hear it. Although the song was released in 1988, the message is timeless. In the opening lines, McFerrin says, "In every life you have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy." This is exactly why the song would relate to my life, because in my life, I love to stay positive and not worry about things too much. Whether it be rock, pop, soul, or classical music, this is genre for everyone and for every occasion. Music has the power to bridge any divide and bring anyone together. In the words of Nelson Mandela, music is a great blessing. It has the power to elevate and to liberate us. It sets people free to dream. It can unite us to sing with one voice. Such is the value of music. So, if you had to choose one song to be background music to your life, what song would you be playing on repeat?
Thank you, Pedro. I don't have an older sibling, but I can imagine how many times music would be playing. Next, we have Camilla Dube in Charles' house. In order to become old and wise, you must first be young and stupid.
believe in order to be old and wise, you must first be young and stupid? Well, I don't completely believe so, because not all old people are wise, and not all young people are stupid. Firstly, in order to become wise, you must make mistakes, and you can learn from your mistakes at any age. It just depends on the mistake. Some of the mistakes you can make are dropping out of school, clicking on random links, and much more. There are also many consequences to these mistakes. For example, if you drop out of school, you could not get a proper education, end up homeless and begging on the side of the road. If you click on random links, you could get scammed, your identity could get stolen, you could accidentally view inappropriate material, or you could become the target of a child predator. A story I have about a child predator was that in 2017, there was a girl in Cape Town who was messaging this guy online. He lied and said that he was her age. He organized for them to meet up and even organized transport for her. Then she arrived in this very dangerous township. They stole her shoes and her backpack and held her hostage until her parents could pay the ransom. Now that is a great example of someone who is young and stupid. We can be sure that she learned from her mistakes. Now to go back to my very first statement about how not all old people are wise and not all young people are stupid. There are many young and wise people in this world. And a person I'd like to mention is a young lady by the name of Malala. Malala fought for women and girls' rights in Pakistan against the Taliban. She demonstrated amazing maturity and shows us that you can be young and wise. There are also many old and stupid people in this world. A story I have is that when my dad was young, he went to school with a group of boys who were very naughty. They would drink alcohol and bully everyone. Now today, whenever my dad goes to the local supermarket, he sees these boys, who are now grown men, asking for money to buy more alcohol. Obviously, they didn't learn from their mistakes. They were clearly young and stupid, and have only changed the young part of that. In closing, I'd like to leave you with the wise words of Sam Altman. Young people willing to push super hard to make something happen are among the most powerful forces in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Camila, for that very, very inspiring speech. Now we have Alexandra Hudson from Francis Group. Grown-ups are weird species. And I can comply with that. Sorry.
Have you ever thought about how weird adults are? No. Have you really just sat, looked at them, and thought about it? Okay, here's an example. You arrive at a party with your folks. You spot your mates, you run up to them, start kicking a ball and playing around. You turn around and guess who your parents are? Sitting on a chair, talking. Not playing, or moving, or jumping around, just sitting, having a fat conversation. Oh, here's another one. Is there anything better in the world than jumping into a pool on a hot summer's day? Your parents are just as hot, but instead of jumping into the pool, they always sit on the side of it. I mean, who doesn't want to swim in their own pool? Last one. I'm sure all of your parents have arguments once in a while, but most of the time, it is all about irrelevant stuff. Like one day, my dad was cooking in the kitchen, and he needed red cabbage, but Mom bought green. So they ended up in a fight all about cabbage. You see, all about meaningless stuff. It's almost like there's a rule book that all adults read, because they all seem to do the same things. But the scariest thing of all is that it is going to happen to us. I have a theory that with so many responsibilities comes weirdness. There's another thing I noticed about adults. They absolutely love to Google stuff. So I decided to Google stuff too. Like, who are some of the weirdest adults who've changed the world? I'm sure all of you have used Vaseline before. It was created by a man named Robert Chesbrough. But the only thing wrong was that he had a habit of eating it too. Hands up, who's heard of Pythagoras? Well, he was a very clever man. He developed maths, astronomy, and the theory of music. But the one weird thing about him was that he thought that beans would harm humans. So one day, he was being chased by attackers, and he reached a bean field. Oh no, that's not good. But instead of going through it, he let the attackers kill him. Grown-ups are like Manchester United. They have their good days and their bad days. They are so unpredictable. Some adults have changed the world in amazing ways, but some have ruined it and left a horrible legacy for themselves. Take Adolf Hitler and Nelson Mandela, for example. They are two very different people. Some might even say weird. Nelson Mandela was an amazing man who left a legacy like no other. The fact that he served 27 years in prison and still forgave his oppressor is weird to some. On the other hand, we have Adolf Hitler, who created the world's worst war, World War II, which killed millions of people. His views and behaviors are still studied by many people today who truly believe that he was weird. From those two examples, I know which weird I'd rather be. The reality is, no matter who you are or what you become in life, in the words of John Lennon, it's weird not to be weird.
Thank you, Alexandra. Now we have Jamie Lee Graham from Benilda's house. In order to find out what life is all about, you should hang out with a 3-year-old.
When babies take their first step and then fall on their bottoms, we don't criticize the fall, we praise the first step. I think we could all learn a lesson from this. We spend so much time criticizing our falls and not enough time applauding our small steps. After reading this unknown quote, we fast forward 3 years to when these babies are 3. But it's no longer baby steps. It's more like climbing trees and monkey bars. In order to understand what life is all about, you should hang up with a 3-year-old. From my experience, a 3-year-old's view on life is to be confident, loving, interested in learning, intelligent, fun, imaginative, and enthusiastic in everything they do. I mean everything. With these positive viewpoints of a 3-year-old, there's also some negative, unfortunately. These include tempers, demanding of people's time and effort, and copying those around them, even if it's good or bad. My cousin Taylor's 3, and hanging out with her, I can see she has no stress or worries in life. She's very eager to learn new things about the world around her, and excited to explore new adventures. Hanging out with Taylor, I noticed how different things are from when I was 3. For example, Taylor knows how to work a full-on phone, for goodness sake. But when I was 3, I don't even think I knew what a phone was. Sometimes she thinks she knows more than me, and in the reality of life, she most probably does. Now, I'm not saying I'm stupid or anything, but that's off topic. We're not going to talk about that. In the beginning, I spoke about how 3-year-olds have no stress or worries in life, and now I'm going to simplify it. After thinking long and hard, and probably spending way too much time on it, I can only come up with 5 problems that 3-year-olds may go through. Problem number 1, your Barbie's wig falls off. Problem number 2, your Hot Wheels car breaks in half. Problem number 3, Mom or Dad won't give you ice cream. Problem number 4, Mom finds out you're playing with her makeup. Oh boy, that's tragic. And the last problem that I can come up with is that Dad won't give you the hammer. That's probably a good thing, but shh, don't tell Taylor I said that. Looking back on the problems I've just said, none of them are nearly as stressful as the problems people go through today. In conclusion, if I could travel back in time to be 3 again, the answer would be yes, obviously. Who wouldn't want to live a no-worry, stress-free life? Am I right or am I right?
Thank you, Jamie, for that speech. I would certainly want to become 3 years old again. Now, we have James Heaney and Charles House. Grown-ups are a weird species. I still think it's bad.
Adulthood is like looking both ways before you cross the street, and then getting hit by an aeroplane. Anonymous. When I saw this quote, it jumped out at me because, yes, being an adult is planning for something and making sure it will all work out perfectly. And then the night before, I walk up to my mom and I tell her that I've been asked to play the soccer match the next morning. Then, as if she's a volcano in Hawaii, she's off. And she completely freaks out on me. Wow, that was scary. Once she's calmed down and I've made her a cup of tea, I ask her what made her freak out. Then she explains to me and it all makes sense. She just wants my day to work out perfectly as hers. Then I say sorry and tell her about how I should have told her earlier and all that weird stuff. Then, as if a switch has been flipped, she's fine again. So weird. The topic I chose, and the topic I'm speaking about to you today, is adults are weird species, and I 100% agree. When I chose this topic, I thought about what makes someone an adult, and in most countries, this is age. As I'm pretty sure you all know, in South Africa, at 18, you are officially an adult. You're allowed to drink, smoke tobacco, and once you've gotten your driver's license, drive. Not according to the South African taxi drivers, no. After doing some research, I found out that some countries have a very different drinking age to ours. For example, in Burkina Faso, the drinking age is 13, which I find way too young. But on the other hand, in Eritrea, the drinking age is 25. In Argentina, the drinking age is, well, they don't have one. You can drink at 5 years old if you want. What genius adult came up with that amazing drinking age? I find adults weird because they tell you to tidy their room and then leave their room a mess. They tell you to unpack your bags. Do they unpack theirs? No. They tell you not to dump your stuff everywhere. What do? They dump their stuff everywhere. And don't even get me started about shouting at you to stop shouting. But I like adults just the way they are, and I think the world would be extremely weird if they weren't weird. So, next time you cross the street and you look both ways, please also look up.
Thank you, James. That speech actually made sense. Sorry, guys. Next, we have Selena Adrievich from Francis House. In order to become old and wise, you must first be young and stupid.
yourself? Been annoyed with your idiotic, uncool, babyish 7-year-old self? Ever wish you could have a serious talk with 5-year-old you and tell them to not, under any circumstances, eat all the sweets on the sweet table and then be sick because your stomach is sore? Ha, never, just me. Well, here's a story. 2 little girls almost bored to death, twirling their messy hair and twiddling their thumbs. Then, the idea sparks. The pens and paper are out. Oh dear, what now? After a few minutes of intense concentration, a lot of drawing, and a couple of hard words to spell, out it comes, in all its glory. A piece of paper, nothing harmful, right? A piece of paper to stick on the gate to say that their grandmother's house was for sale. Unbelievable, right? But those 2 messy-haired, dirty-faced, finger-twiddling girls were me, my cousin and I. Maybe this could be our job, we thought. Get a little ahead in the field. Of course, to no one's surprise but ours, no one bought the house sold by 2 children. Well, there goes our chance of being real estate agents, am I right? It is often said that the older you are, the wiser you are, and that young people make mistakes. But does this mean that old or older people don't make mistakes? This brings us to my speech topic for today. In order to become old and wise, you must first be young and stupid. Okay, seems easy enough. Be young and do a dumb thing, grow old and learn from it. We can do this. Can we? If someone told me I could go back in time and change something that I did, what would it be? Would it be jumping off the wall and landing on your back? Not studying hard enough for that test? Ignoring your parents and doing something anyway? Or would it be going to long jump and ending up breaking your toe? I'm sure we all have lots of things that we regret doing and would really want to take away the humiliation or pain of the moment or thing that we did. But me, I would not change anything, because all those things I've done, stupid or smart, have all been learning experiences for me. If you didn't study hard enough for that test, what does that teach you? Try harder, study harder, learn from your experiences. I'm not saying be scared of everything and never take risks. I'm saying use your past experiences to help you make the right choices now and in the future. Some things we have no control over, like falling badly and breaking a bone, but we always have control over how we react. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We are only human. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, the one to break it to you, but life's not easy. It comes with hard times, sad times, and unfair times. But it is full of learning experiences, so capture those lessons and treasure them forever. It is okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and become a little wiser along the way. Would you rather make mistakes and learn from them, or never make mistakes, never learn, and never live?
Wow, what an amazing speech. Thank you, Selena, for that amazing speech. Now, we have Hannah Thurman and Benildus. In order to find out what life is all about, you should hang out with a 3-year-old.
There's a picture on the wall, and it's you. Ice cream dribbling down your chin, your hair a mass of wild curls. Your big blue eyes are wide with pleasure, a goofy smile on your face. Your heart hums in your chest, tears prickle at the corners of your eyes. Your 21st birthday, with all your cool new friends, is ruined. Ruined by one photo of a 3-year-old projected onto the wall. You. 18 years ago. The music slows to a halt. Every head in the room turns to you. A giggle, then another, and another, and another, and another. Soon the whole room is filled with laughter. If only you could talk to your 3-year-old self. Have you ever been embarrassed by baby pictures?
showered with kisses from grandma in front of your friends. It's happened to everyone. Whether it's a humiliating anecdote during a car ride or a silly photo at a party, we've all had to face our ice cream dribbled, curly-haired past. We've all wished that we could talk to our toddler selves, force them to act more mature, teach them how to be cool. But if we look deeper, this isn't the only reason to talk to a 3-year-old. They could share their thoughts and opinions with us too. I know, it sounds crazy, but it could actually be useful. Eager to find out more? Follow me. 3-year-olds have yet to experience the world in the way that we do. They see the world as perfect. Their only concern a mean kid who used up all of the yellow paint. To talk to them about relevant problems would open up a lot of doors for us. Seeing the world through a 3-year-old's eyes would show us that young children are more intelligent than we might think. 3-year-olds are not familiar with the concept of being diplomatic or lying for another's benefit. They speak their minds and aren't afraid to ask big questions. Most people lack these qualities and would be untruthful for the sake of reputation. 3-year-olds don't care what other people think. They just go through the world meaning what they say and saying what they mean. 3-year-olds see the world through eyes untainted by unhappiness or war. To get their perspective would certainly be interesting. Imagine viewing the world as if there was nothing bad about it. No pollution, inequality, racism, or war. A perfect world, a perfect community. This is the life of a 3-year-old. 3-year-olds are curious about everything and are ready to dive in head first. To them, a tree is not just a tree, it's a jungle gym. Water isn't a drink, it's hours of fun. Maybe we should all try being 3-year-olds again. Next time you see your 3-year-old cousin or bump into a toddler at the park, remember. Remember the curly-haired ice cream kid. Remember. Remember who you used to be.
Wow, Hannah, that left me speechless. It's very relatable. And next up we have Jessica O'Leary from Charles House. Live should come with background music.
My mom was sprinting the last 100 meters of ACH House. She was in 3rd place, and all that was going through my head was the song Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Now, imagine if that song was playing in real life. It would be awesome. And I don't mean playing off a speaker. No. I mean playing by background music. And that brings me to today's topic. Life should come with background music. I do agree with this topic, but I also don't. Here's one. Music makes you happier. A study in 2013 by Sheldon Killen and Lena Ferguson shows that trying to feel happier is useless. But trying to feel happier whilst listening to music can boost your mood and make you happier. So, if you're really sad one day because you couldn't get those lekker shoes from the shops you really wanted, your favorite song could stop playing, and you can cheer up without getting ice cream. Music also helps you express emotion. A lot of people struggle to express their emotions, and a lot of those people's lives are hard because of that lack of expression. But with background music, this problem won't be fixed. For example, if your friend is really sad one day, and all you hear is depressing music when they walk past, you can know that they need some support, and you can even know to get them a chocolate. So, life with background music could also get us free food. Cool. So far, this life sounds amazing. But that's just the pros of it. Let's talk about the cons. First off is who can hear the music. Imagine you're sneaking up on your friend. You're right behind them, about to scare them, and you suddenly hear the Pink Panther theme song. You already know you've been caught if your friend can also hear the music. And what if no one can actually hear the music? No one in movies can hear their background music. So, could we? Then there's the types of music. Some music is really distracting and hard to concentrate whilst it's playing. For instance, when I'm in class and someone starts playing music in the hall or down the corridor, my whole class jumps up and starts singing and dancing, and then no work gets done. So imagine you're in an exam, and whoever controls your background music decides to start playing Dance Monkey. First off, it would be straight up annoying, and secondly, it would be super distracting. So, you see what I mean? I would absolutely love life with background music, but I would also hate it. Maybe it should only work on weekends, or maybe it should have an on and an off button. What do you think?
Thank you once again for that amazing speech. Now we have Greg Rubers from Francis' house. Grown-ups are weird species. I can still definitely comply with that.
Adults are weird species. You might be wondering why I picked this topic, since we will be adults in the next 8 to 9 years. Well, at this point, we are not weird, but our parents and other adults are. They can definitely be described as weird. Let's look at the definition of weird. Means strange, bizarre. Don't you find it bizarre that when adults are at a party, they just like to sit? You invite them to play a game of table tennis or a game of soccer, and their standard answer is, we will be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, you come back. But guess what? It's lunchtime, and that takes an hour. An hour later, you come back and say, please, can you come play soccer with me now? But no, now it's time to digest. Adults truly believe that having a party means sitting, eating, and drinking. Don't you find it strange, or should I say weird, that on a boiling hot summer afternoon, when the kids are swimming for hours, and adults will come and swim. However, their idea of swim is sitting on the pool step, dipping their feet in the water. And if they're feeling adventurous that day, they might get their knees wet. I spent some time Googling weird people, and the name Weird Al Yankovic came up. Weird Al Yankovic is an American singer and producer who sings humorous songs. These songs often mock specific songs by well-known singers. Let's look at some of the songs. Here's some. I'm sure you all know the song Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. Well, he made his own song named Another One Rides the Bus, with song lines. There's a suitcase poking me in the ribs. There's an elbow in my ear. There's a smelly old bum standing next to me. Hasn't showered in a year. And I'm sure you all know the song Beat It by Michael Jackson. Well, he made his own song named Eat It, with song lines. Your table manners are some crying shame. You're playing with your food. This ain't some kind of game. Now if you starve to death, you'll just have yourself to blame. So eat it. Just eat it. By his own admission, Mr. Yankovic is weird. But by being weird, he is successful and famous. I guess the weirdest thing of all for me is that adults were once children and probably shared the same thoughts to what we do now. Before I end all, here's a quote by Sir Paul McCartney. He says, I used to think anyone doing anything weird was weird. Now I know that it is the people that call people weird that are weird. So maybe I'm the weird one now.
And just before you all think it's over,
We had to throw in some wild cards. So here's Kino Pereira from Charles House with his topic, Grown-ups are weird species.
We can all agree that grown-ups are weird species. They're like aliens, very different to us children. Understanding them is never easy. They seem to think they know everything just because they have life experience. There are different types of grown-ups. A Karen, as known by us children, is a grown-up that complains about everything. Well, most grown-ups do that, to be honest, but a Karen is much worse. Anyways, that's a bit off topic. Let me get back to why grown-ups are aliens. Number one, they're always forgetting things, asking, have you seen my cell phone, or have you seen my car keys? But on a good note, them forgetting things is not always a bad thing. For example, if your teacher forgets to give you homework. Number two, they ask you to pause online games. Do they not understand that it's online? Number three, in addition to the previous points, they think it's a good idea to have a conversation in your room while you're playing an online game with your friends. They clearly don't realize that your friends can hear them saying, ooh, this chair is stunning. I should definitely buy it. It matches the colors in my room. Next thing you have Latifi making fun of you, saying, your mom should definitely buy that chair. It's so embarrassing. Number four, have you ever seen a grown-up with a new phone? They have no idea how to use it. They ask you to change their password for them or to end the call that they were just on. They're clueless when it comes to technology. Yet if they pass their phone on to a child, they would figure out how it works within seconds. Number five, they always have aches and pains, and when they wake up, they're backwards. They spend quite a lot of time Googling natural remedies. Number six, anyone familiar with the phrase, get off your phone? Grown-ups love this phrase. You arrive back from cricket, rugby, soccer, a marathon, your friend's house, you name it, and they ask you to get off your phone that you barely touched the whole day. 5 minutes later, you walk past their room and you see them on their phone and the TV at the same time. One of the most obvious facts is that grown-ups have forgot what it's like to be a child. They make the rules and talk to you until you go nuts. As you can see, grown-ups are weird species, and I have a strong feeling, unfortunately, that one day I'll be a weird species too.
Wow, your mom should really buy that chair. Now we have Udea Sukram in France's house. In order to find what life is all about, you should hang out with a 3-year-old.
Can I start? Ah, monster, monster, you dare watch out behind you. Jump high before it eats you up. The voice of my cousin Callista, with their wild look on her face as we navigate each other on the trampoline. Her imagination running rampant. She flies in the air, grabs me, pulling me down,
as we tumble on the trampoline floor. "Seriously," she screams, jokes flooding from every inch of her. Spending the day with my 3-year-old cousin is always super fun. She is the epitome of happy. Nothing phases her. Whether we are pretending to be superheroes, princesses, or even just playing house, I feel a sense of wonder, a pure joy when I'm around her. You see, as we grow up, we lose the sense of wonder. We worry about what our friends think, about getting good marks, about being a better sports player. We forget to have fun, to live each moment with joy. 3-year-olds live completely in the present moment. They have no concern for productivity. Their imagination knows no limits. Probably because they don't care what others think. When they play, they lose themselves in it, as they don't judge themselves or others around them. 3-year-olds are endlessly curious. Have you ever heard a child ask why after every answer you give them? Have you ever seen a child completely engrossed in studying the shape of a leaf? Their curiosity knows no bounds, probably because their minds are sponges, absorbing knowledge 24/7. Callie's creativity is amazing. At the age of 3, she has had no formal art lessons, like which colors go together and which stones. So how is it that her paintings are so amazing? I wish I could do that, paint with abandon. That reminds me of what Pablo Picasso said. All children are artists. The problem is how to remain an artist once she's grown up. So how do we keep our childlike qualities? Observe little children. Watch how they play, how they live, how they create. Play with little children. Be a dinosaur or a gorilla or a villain. Have a joyous time. Create like a child. Don't be constrained in what people expect you to do. Be wild and have fun. We can learn a lot from 3-year-olds. Sure, they have some qualities we may not want, like throwing tantrums. But in my eyes, they're already perfect. We don't need to mold them into people. We need to be more like them.
That concludes our evening of brilliant, inspiring, and entertaining speeches.
We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
We will now have short intervals where you may help yourselves to some refreshments. Each speaker may help themselves to a drink and a packet of chips.
We would like to ask that you may go outside so we can provide our adjudicators with some time to reflect and prepare our awards.
Thank you very much for having us here. First of all, I'd like you all to give each other a big, big round of applause again. All of you have really done the most fantastic job this evening. All of the teachers and I agree that it takes a great deal of courage and bravery to get up here to speak in front of your peers and your teachers, some teachers that you don't even know. So that's very impressive and it's worth commending. Across the board, we've seen that you've all prepared your speeches really, really well. You've practiced and put time into preparing cue cards that work for you. All of you were very well rehearsed, made excellent eye contact throughout your speeches, and we're very, very impressed with that, so congratulations. We saw many speeches this evening with a wonderful sense of humor, and that's something I also really want to celebrate. I think funny is always a good option for a speech. If you can get your audience to laugh, you'll have them on your side immediately, and you have a great chance for success. All right. I also think I'd like to give you a little bit of advice tonight, maybe some areas in which you could improve. First bit of advice I'd like to give you is that the intro is the most important part of your speech. That's where you grab your audience's attention. So if your intro is a little bit iffy, you'll lose them And from there, it's almost impossible to get them back. Okay, so make sure you start with a bang. Make sure you start with something that's really exciting and draws your audience in. Second piece of advice relates to body language. We want to make sure that we're always standing up straight, that we move to sort of scan our audience, to engage with all the members of our audience, and that we maybe don't try to be like robots or like cardboard cutouts, but that we do move slightly, make occasional hand movements. We don't want to be too overly animated, okay? You don't want to be flailing about, but to make a little hand gesture to the audience shows that you understand what you're talking about and you're trying to connect there. The second point, and a very, very important one, is one on sincerity. Okay, so this means that you can connect with your topic, you can connect with what you're speaking about. It's very important to make sure that your topic matters to you. Okay, not only that it's important and that it's worthy, but that it matters to you and that you find it important. If you find the topic important and it matters to you, then you've already done 25% of the work, I think. Because then you'll be passionate about it, you'll be interested, and we'll be able to tell on the other side. The best speeches are the ones that are personal, that involve little stories from your own life, anecdotes, as we say. So try and include a little bit from your own life, a little story of your own. In the future, we want to see you maybe play with expression and tone a little bit more, to try and bring your voice up at certain points, maybe go a little bit lower at other points, speak more slowly at certain times when things are meant to be calm, or speak very quickly when things are meant to be exciting. Okay, so try and play with that a little bit. Your cue cards, as you know, are very, very important. I just want to speak about the size of your cue cards. It's maybe something to get a little, it's something to difficult to get right, but you want to make sure that your cue cards are the right size. If they're too small, you'll tend to hold them very close to your body because the writing will be very small and your body language will come over, you hunch your shoulders, and it doesn't give the best image. Next point, you should try and have a balance between things that you research, information that you can get on the internet, very interesting information, and information of your own opinion, things that you can bring to the table. Okay, so you want to always have both in the speech. Information that you found and stuff that only you can tell the audience. Secondly, just like the introduction, the conclusion is also very important. It's the second most important part of the speech. And just like starting with a bang, you want to end off on a very powerful note. Very importantly, when you're done with your speech, don't just run. Okay, give us 1 or 2 seconds at the end of your speech. Just stand there, take everything in, make sure the audience can reflect on your last few words. Okay, so don't run away. And that's it. That's all our advice. I'd like to give a big thank you to all of your English teachers and for all the other English teachers that have helped tonight. Can we give them a round of applause? Yeah, I sincerely hope that all of you will continue on in your public speaking careers. You all show wonderful talent and promise. And to the grade 6s, we look forward to seeing you in the high school next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your insightful feedback and for giving your time tonight.
It was a pleasure being your MCs for this evening, but sadly, we had to say our goodbyes and hand over to Ms. Morris and Mr. Burns.
Again, congratulations to all of our speakers this evening,
Now, the moment that you have all been waiting for, we're going to announce your placement per grade. We will announce first, second, and third place, and we will also announce the house from which you spoke from. Right. Mr. Bergson will hand you your certificate. When do I get these? Afterwards. I'm new to this, so just bear with me, some teething problems. Right, first we will actually hand out all of your certificates, and then we'll announce the placements. Okay. All right, so firstly I'd like to call up Brooklyn. Congratulations. Madison. Taliesin. Alexandra. Alessia. Joshua. And then Taya. Then for our grade 5 certificates, Chloe. Nina. Alice. Sienna. Nikita. Kai. Ivana. Isabella. And Sophia. Now for our grade 6s, Pedro. Camilla. Alexandra. Jamie Lee. James. Selena. Hannah. Jessica, Greg, Kino, and Judea. And now truly the moment you really have been waiting for. I will call out your placement. Will you please come and stand up here next to Mr. Burnson with your certificate? I'm going to stand alongside him, give a little elbow bump to congratulate you, of course, and then Mrs. Duffy will take a photo. All right. So for grade 4s, in 3rd place, we have Madison from Charles House. We have Alexandra from Benildes. And then, in 1st place from Charles House, we have Joshua. Grade 5s. In 3rd place, from Benildes House, we have Ivana. And in 2nd place, from Charles House, I'm noticing a lot of Charles, which I like, because I'm in Charles. We have Isabella. And in 1st place, from Charles, of course, we have Nikita. Congratulations, very nice. For our grade 6s, in 3rd place, from Francis House, we have Selena. And in 2nd place, Charles House again, we can thank James. But I see that Francis has snuck back in here, and at 1st place, we have Alexandra. So I hope that you're all very proud of yourselves this evening. Thank you, Mr. Benson. I'm very proud of all of our speakers this evening, and you should be proud of yourselves too. And on that note, to conclude this evening, I would like to say a few thank yous. And the very first thank you must, of course, go to the people who made this possible. And that is each and every single one of our speakers tonight. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here. So congratulations. Thank you to our MCs, Daniela and Ray. And to all of your English teachers for preparing you. I know that this has been underway for quite some time, so thank you to you. Thank you to our esteemed adjudicators.
Steele for scoring. A thank you to Mrs. Gopal for her assistance this evening. To Mr. Bernal up there. Thank you for performing and having this evening on record for us. And that means that all your family will be able to watch you, which is fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Benson, for coming to support this evening. I know the children appreciate that. As you'll notice, the front cover of your programs was designed by a student, and that student is Kirsten Hanford. So I'd like to say thank you to Kirsten Hanford. And before we all go home, I would like to ask the adjudicators to please come up and receive a gift of thanks. Good evening, everyone. I hope you have a lovely midterm break. It is well deserved, and I shall see you back next week.